Well, I'll start off by introducing myself. I am Sandy Steepman, and I am a PhD candidate at Northwestern University.
I'm Devin McCaslin. I'm a faculty member at Mayo Clinic, Rochester.
I'm from Minnesota, born and raised.
Are you really?
Yes, born and raised, and after I got my AUD there, and then now I'm at Northwestern doing my PhD, so.
Nice, nice. I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is not too awfully far from Minnesota.
Nope.
And my mom still lives over there. My mom is an audiologist, which is what got me into this. And so, so that was sort of my inspiration and sort of following through, and I began in electrophysiology. And then from there, decided to go to Henry Ford after I finished up my PhD at Ohio State University, and I worked with Gary Jacobson, and he was involved both in electrophysiology and vestibular. And that's where really the puzzle of vestibular really became intriguing to me. And so you would have these patients, they would show up, there could be multiple reasons why they would be dizzy, and I just thought it was interesting trying to figure out the puzzle, or trying to come up with an answer, a diagnosis of what was causing the dizziness. And
Was this primarily in adults at this time?
Primarily in adults, that's right, exactly. And so started out in adults, did a lot of my work in adults, but then went to Vanderbilt after Henry Ford Hospital. And at Vanderbilt we built a children's hospital. And so what we would notice is occasionally we would be referred children that presented with dizziness, and all kinds of dizziness. It could be migraine, it could be true vertigo from sort of ear issue. But that was when I think that it really came to me to say we didn't really know what to do with them. We didn't have a good care pathway for these children, and so as we began to look, nobody really had a good care pathway for children that had dizziness, and so that was really the motivation behind sort of starting from scratch and looking what had been done and trying to say where are there holes in the literature and the research, and there really wasn't any research.
There's a lot of holes.
There were a lot of holes, essentially a sieve, and from there we started to just take it step by step and start building on trying to ask questions that were, centered around how to first identify them and then later how to assess them.
So did you start out with using your knowledge of adult vestib norms and tests and trying to adapt them then to the pediatric populations?
Absolutely. So a lot of what I did was trying to reduce variability and vestibular myogenic potentials. We were looking at rotational testing, and we hadn't even really got our heads around exactly what it was yet in adults, because these tests, the VEMS, have only been around 10, 15 years, and then video head impulse testing has come along. So a lot of technology has come along in the area of vestibular assessment, and so you couple that with the idea that there's even less in pediatrics, and so we just started looking at pediatric, applying these new sort of assessments to them and seeing if it would help with getting them to the right place to get treatment, and then trying to follow outcomes and try to follow them all the way through the whole process.
Big undertaking. I mean, not only just doing research, but then you also are working with industry. I'm assuming they get these new techniques and technologies underway, and then also the clinicians as well. So I mean, it's pretty much the definition of translational research.
Yeah, well, and that's a really good point, because it really does take industry, because everything is built for adults. They don't have little goggles, they don't have specialized stimuli, and so we work very closely with them. We had to have a patient population, but you also had to have research time to see these kids, and so it was really a marriage of all three of those sort of centers to sort of move everything forward in a way, essentially something that didn't exist, a whole field that really had no knowledge behind it to drive the care.
Going back when you were, maybe starting to consider getting a PhD, what got you interested in science in general, and eventually going on to get a PhD?
Yeah, so I was back in the day of the CFY, so back a long time ago, and we had a master's degree, and then, so there was no AUD at the time, and what I did is, I wanted to know a little more about it, wanted to learn a little more about the questions, the research, try to build on it. And the only vehicle to do that was the PhD. And so what I did is, looked around for PhD programs, and then was able to decide to go to Ohio State. And from there, what they let me do is go and work with Gary Jacobson. So I actually did all of my coursework at Ohio State and did all of my research at a tertiary medical center, Henry Ford Hospital. And so in that way, I was able to really, get at questions that were interesting. And at that time, I enjoyed electrophysiology. So I enjoyed cortical potentials and in particular, and I did a little bit of magnetoencephalography, so magnetic fields and auditory stimuli. And a lot of my work really stemmed, what got me really excited about it was my animal work. I did a lot of animal work in tinnitus and at the level of the brainstem under Jim Kaltenbach. And so that was, so just wanted to, sort of, what happens is he sort of gets you excited. You find out how much you don't know, and that sort of drives you to, you gotta find out, you want to answer it, and even, it's just exciting to take it all the way through the process.
You never know. You think you're going to find one thing, you end up finding something totally
That is
different.
exactly the key, is every question leads to 10 more questions that then, and so it's, and so then you just get hooked. And once you're hooked, then you can't stop. So
It's like an addiction.
It is like an addiction, a sad research addiction.
So what do you have any advice or words of wisdom for people who might be interested in getting into science or being researchers themselves?
Yeah, I think that you have to find someone to inspire you, and you have to love it. You really do it. And I think the biggest thing is what you start out doing, you may not end up doing, long term. So
Right.
I started off in evoked potentials, and I ended up, I started off in single unit recordings in the brainstem and tinnitus, and now I'm actually doing vestibular work. And again, you don't know where the path is going to take you, but you have to find people along the way that inspire you, that are excited, and then eventually have the courage to go and make your own way and start answering your own questions.
It's always interesting to see how the evolution of any particular person's career ends up unfolding.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you need to find someone to inspire you, and you have also mentioned that your mother was an inspiration for you. Who else was a big scientist who inspired you?
Yeah,
to get
well,
into
so when I was in my master's, Jim Kaltenbach probably got me, he was able to take me on. I didn't know anything about it, and he sat down and he took this enormous amount of time to sort of show me and teach me, and he didn't have to do that, and got me excited about it. Gary Jacobson then took me on and taught me all about evoked potentials, taught me about balance. Then later on you make more connections like Bob Burkhardt, you learn Paul Kalani, Craig Newman. There's these people that then begin to help your career. And so actually on my wall in my office I have pictures of all the people that have helped me get to where I am, because I think the biggest thing to remember is you never get there on your own. It's everyone really helping you, and these people that really kind of pull you up and inspire to do what you do, and it takes people helping you along the way to be successful.
It's probably actually conferences like this where you first met a lot of those people.
Absolutely.
For the first time, right?
Absolutely. The conference is just a key component to interacting, to generating more questions, to, it's where it all happens, because you get in your little bubble lab or you're in the clinic, and once they let you out, you go out to dinner, and it's a great exchange of ideas that then inspires even more ideas. So.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to get to talk to you today.
No.
And to hear you speak today. It was a wonderful lecture.
Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you. Thanks.